Good morning. Remembrance Day, Wednesday, the 11th of November 2020. Christ said, if they strike you on one cheek, give unto them the other cheek. Every single hair on the head of your fellow man, woman, and child is precious and special. That is what Christ taught us, teaches us here and now, today. Hence my rage, quite frankly, at the world in which I live. I'm constrained now to live within reach of a raft of very powerful pills for my heart. I have acute heart failure. Without those pills, I would die. And likewise, I have asthma, and without those inhalers, potentially I could die. But without the heart pills, I would die, which requires medical stuff. A GP, a pharmacist. Very good medical service in England, all jolly free for me, an older man of 64 years old, so aren't I the lucky one? Now, here we are, in this purportedly Christian country, certainly its origins and traditions for millennia. Alban was martyred in St. Alban in the early 200s AD because he saw the light. And obviously then clearly refused to continue in his way as a Roman centurion, defying the emperor of Rome, and refused to kill. Well, that's very, very straightforward and simple. Christ's message is to fulfill the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, the law, with the 2 commandments. Love God, love your neighbor as yourself. And love can never, under any circumstances, ever include killing your fellow man, woman, or child. And yet, that is exactly what this, my country, England, Britain, has done, specifically in the First and Second World Wars, and then the subsequent wars as well, which are now remembered. I think the last of the living have now passed on from the First World War, but it's in people's spirits still. Grandparents, parents, and grandparents. My own father fought on the Somme in the First World War. So this is part of our culture, our tradition. The Queen, well, it is evil. It's not wishy-washy grey, it is straightforward evil. Not a popular opinion, this. People think they can just go and put God in his box on a Sunday and then just continue behaving badly. Rubbish. Utter codswallop. You think God hasn't noticed? An all-knowing, all-seeing, all-encompassing God hasn't noticed the way we behave. He knew he'd behave like this. This is why we have the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive them that trespass against us. Well, little Johnny and Mary know this. Little Johnny at 7 years old pulls little Mary's pigtails and she pinches his bum and they have a blooming Barney. And they make up and it's all sweetness and light again. They both knew they had done something wrong. So how do adults lose sight of this? And then the monstrous hypocrisy of it is they put this more than veneer, they drag God into it to agree with them, purportedly. Well, it is evil. And I feel it more deeply as I grow older. As I've already said, I might pop my clogs. I don't think it's imminent. Providing I've got the pills, then I may live a long life. But who knows? Today is the only day I have, and it troubles my soul profoundly. Basically, I'm stuck, I'm trapped. And I don't do trapped. The story about my grandfather, who was a guy's MD. We're a medical family. My mother was a maternity sister as well. My brother's in Harley Street, London, a doctor too. I was training to be a doctor at Bristol University, is that if you put a wall in front of him, around him, he would climb over it, dig under it, knock it down, but you couldn't box him in. Well, that is in my spirit too, and as it is in so many people throughout the world, quite frankly. Ultimately, if you suppress people, there's something in the human spirit which says enough is enough, and then people are prepared to die for this, to the point of martyrdom. Thank heavens. So, the logic is clear. Christ's message is exclusively of love. There are 2 instances of violence in his life, if you like. The overturning of the moneylenders' tables in the temple because they were desecrating God's house with money changes and so on. And Christ thought about it and did it deliberately because everything he did was perfect. Everything he said and did was perfect. And then he says, after the Last Supper, get 2 swords. It's in Luke 22. And people use that as well. 2 swords is enough. So what are they going to do with the swords then when they go forth? I've never quite understood why that's there. But he healed when they came to arrest him, and Simon Peter cut off the ear or injured the ear of one of them. And Christ healed it. He said, "Do you think we're a band of brigands? I've been in your temple in Jerusalem," and so on and so on. Christ's message is of love. Hard, strong, powerful love. And it's love God first, not yourself. Ultimately, that is the most important one, as it were, to deny yourself. Don't put yourself first, and certainly not before and above God, for heaven's sake. And that's exactly what people are doing now in the world, all around me, in England. Never mind the rest of the world. I'm British. This is my country too. And she has strayed from anything like a Christian path. So that wipes out the whole of the Church of England, all its clergy, everyone who attends Church of England services and goes along with it. Now, it took me decades to work this out. Only into my 40s did the penny finally drop. Initially, for what it's worth, I was also training to be a pilot through the Royal Air Force, my mother's very actual own First cousin John Walker was an actual real Spitfire pilot. That's what young people do in these circumstances. Your country needs you, whatever that was, Kitchener, that famous poster. What for? To go and kill? In God's name, that's the problem. And God says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. It's not for us to take vengeance. We did at Dresden. Bomber Harris bombed the hell out of Dresden. We invented the blooming carpet bombing, virtually. And then on it goes. The two wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, Saudi Arabia at the moment. We're selling the arms to Saudi Arabia. I could just go on and on and on. It is evil. England and her Queen are evil. And everything that goes to support that structure, the society in which I live. Christ came to give us, mankind, for all time, all of humanity, the opportunity to rise out of our baser human selves, to reach for the stars. So I try to do. This is the Carthusian monks at La Grande Chartreuse, dans les Alpes, en France, au sud de la France. So in the south of France, in the Alps, St. Bruno is the date, the memorable date is 1084, for what it's worth. And this is midnight vigils, so it's sung in Latin Gregorian chant, and I find it at this time of day, night, very beautiful. Just the rhythm of it and the fact that the long intros, because that was what they do, that is what they do every midnight. That was the monks coming into the abbey and the chapel and settling down, and you hear them shuffling their feet and so on as the bell calls them. And then there's just this rhythm in Latin. It's the set passages. It's all set. So there is hope. We have faith, hope, and love. The last film, I went over it. The passage was, I know the whole point of the passage was, I omitted to actually say the greatest of these. There's faith, hope, and love. This is Paul speaking, 1 Corinthians 13. It's there in black and white, and I didn't say it. I was talking about love. Faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Amen.